buddy, Dr. Bill Robinson. How are you, sir?
Konnichiwa. I think I said that right.
That sounds right to me. Very good. I'm not even going to try it because I'll butcher something, you know?
It's odd. I've been able to say some words and names and such that I've been pronouncing lately on other shows. I seem to mess up, but every now and then I pull one out and kind of go, wow, I actually said that correctly.
Well, you never know. And, just blame it on Arnold if you don't say it correctly.
Yeah.
So, as you heard over the past couple episodes, we are now done with the first season of Star Blazers. So we're going to take a break from the space fantasy genre. And we did our post-apocalyptic episode with the Akira movie last time. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to move into a new genre, or genre, as I've heard Christopher Lee pronounce it. And that would be fantasy with Record of Lodoss War.
What? I thought we were doing Attack on Titan.
But it would... Oh. See, I was going by the vote, and then you're going by Paul's ultimatum.
Yeah, the producer has spoken.
Yeah, we won't be finding no horse heads in our beds here.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could do Record of Titan War?
Attack on Lodoss?
Sure. Maybe we'll just... how about we'll take two great things and mix them together.
Yeah.
And we'll do the first episodes of each series.
That'll work. Yeah, well, and that'll please everybody, right? Because compromise is what everyone wants nowadays.
No, don't get me started.
Oh, boy.
And maybe we'll just, and I think we'll just do we'll do an episode from each show.
Yeah,
until we finish off Lodoss War, and then we might pick up something else.
Yeah, you never know.
So that we will get you interested in something else.
Yeah, well, remember, the first one's free, kids.
That's right.
So, we don't have any email, because, obviously people are too busy to write to us.
Well, however, maybe if I edited more often and got a show out and made us relevant and in people's minds, they'd send emails. So that's kind of my fault.
Well, we did, however, get a Facebook message from our good buddy Jason Trenner. And he just wrote me one day and asked if we were going to be covering Super Robot Wars 5, which is kind of an odd question since that's a video game. But looking more into it, it seems that we actually have a bit of Star Blazers news now that we're done covering Star Blazers. And that would be that in Super Robot Wars 5 for the PS4, we will be seeing the space battleship Yamato making an appearance. And it's from the 2199 series. And looking at the screen capture, it looks pretty damn good. And they even have Wildstar's, or whatever his name is in Japanese.
Wildstar. It would be Kaneda. No, not Kaneda.
That was last episode.
Kaido. Well, you think I would know? You think I would know because I have some news, but we'll wait and finish your news.
Yes, well, I mean, it's supposed to come out in 2017, and from what I have seen, I can see that it's going to have English subtitles, but I don't think they're actually going to make a full-on English release of it. So I don't know if it's going to be available over here or if you're going to have to do an import deal. But yeah, it's interesting. I've never played any of the Super Robot Wars games, so I don't know.
I have not played either. Kodai.
There you go.
Sorry.
Wake up in the middle of the night screaming, Kodai! So, yeah, we'll keep abreast of that and see what happens with it, and let all you loyal listeners know. So we'll move from one piece of Yamato news to another. So what do you got, Bill?
Well, for my birthday, which was about 3 weeks ago, I had left a hint as in a open Amazon page up on the computer and saying, I would like this, please. And I got the live action Space Battleship Yamato Blu-ray. It has a Blu-ray and a DVD in it. So now I watched the movie live action, and it was kind of interesting because it has the English dub as well.
Oh, okay.
So I watched it with the English dub, and I watched it with the subtitles, and they don't match.
Really?
Yes, so it's kind of weird to be listening to one thing and reading something that's slightly different. Yeah,
Weird.
so it was a little, and I guess I missed the first time around when I watched it, because you had watched it as well. I think it was on YouTube.
Yes, yeah, and that they only had the subtitled version when I
Right.
saw it.
But I guess I'd missed the nuance, or maybe I just skipped over the at the very end when they encounter the Gamelons with their little, because in the movie they have a crystalline life form,
Right.
and at the end they encounter Dresler
Hmm.
in. But do you remember seeing that the first time around? Like they destroy the planet, and he's all that's left of, because they're like a hive mentality. But he still had enough, that it had enough force in the collective to impose its will, kind of. And Dresler, or would be Deslock, to for the English speaking side, takes a shape and is walking around on the bridge talking to them on.
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
okay, because I didn't
Yeah.
remember that at all. And he takes the form of Deathlock somewhat. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, oh, wow.
he does kind of look like him, so
Yeah.
it's a nice nod. I mean, everything in that movie is a nod to the original for
Oh, yeah,
obvious reasons.
yeah.
But I mean, the launch of the Yamato
Oh, yeah.
in that is just it's amazing.
And then they had IQ9, or the
Analyze.
Analyzer.
Yes. And that was nice because I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was just going to be the little handheld thing, and then he pops out of Wildstar's Kodai's fighter. I was like, yes, he's actually there.
Yeah, and he goes down like a boss. He was
Hmm.
taking out a bunch of Gamelons. So, but yeah, it was beautiful. It was great. So I now am the proud owner of the Blu-ray.
Very nice. So that's
It's
besides
such a
that.
depressing ending. Oh,
Oh, it is.
God.
Well, then again, have you watched any of the Yamato movies?
Yeah, but they still come back. They still fiddle, fart, and change it. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
they
but
do the same thing.
I mean, the original, the Comet Empire movie ends with Wildstar and Nova flying into the comet and blowing the ship up.
Mm.
So that is kind of a depressing ending, you know?
Spoiler, Gene.
Yeah.
We just now nobody needs to listen to season 2.
Well, no, they changed
that's
it
true.
for season 2 because that happened between seasons 1 and 2. So when they realized how popular it was, shit, we got to change that.
Yeah. Well, so aside from my new goodie that I got for my birthday, I also got a, not really anime related, but on the video game front, I got a little Funko head of a little figure of Dog Meat, which is the dog in the Fallout
Oh, okay.
game series. So I have a tiny little German Shepherd with a big head, and he's got welding goggles on his head, and
Oh,
he's got
nice.
a scarf around his neck. He's got a bandana, just like my guy in the game.
You see, when you said Dog Meat, I immediately went to Hill Street Blues
Oh,
because of Belker.
Right.
Everything was dog meat or dog breath or dog drool. Sit down, Dog Meat.
the only other, I guess, close to anime watching I've been doing, aside from regular Lodoss and Attack on Titan, is been trying to go back and because I'd like to watch Star Wars Rebels. I never actually finished off the Clone Wars, so I started over from the beginning, and I'm up about halfway through season 3 right
Okay.
now.
Are you listening to J Guys and Jedi when you're watching?
Yes, but I'm about a season ahead of them because I
Mhm.
want to just I don't want to wait that long.
Right. You just want to power through it.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and each one is only about 22 minutes long. So, and some of them I've already seen before in the background. Like today, I just went through 2 of them. Like, oh yeah, I've already seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Because my son was watching them a while ago, and through being in the house and having it on, I ended up watching a bunch then. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I know I've seen nothing of the final season or most of about half of season 5. So,
Yeah, that Clone Wars, that's something that we watched when it first came out, like the first season and a half, and for some reason
I did too, but it just
we got bored with
I
it.
lost my interest.
Yeah. So now we started to go back and we rewatched them, but then we got sidetracked in other things and so on and so forth. Like Kira has been obsessed with Sailor Moon, so she has actually managed to watch up to the 3rd season of that.
Tuxedo Mask.
Yes. Oh god, that is such a weird subplot. But also like the new Thunderbird series, which technically isn't anime because it's English, but it's really, really good.
What did they call that back in the day? Marionation?
Super Marionation.
Super Marionation?
But now it's computer graphics, so it's computer animated figures, but they look kind of like the original marionettes.
Oh, you know what? I did start to watch something else, because after I started to watch the new on Netflix, the Voltron Defender of the Universe movie.
Oh, that is really good too.
I'm about I think I'm about 20 minutes into it, where because you've got the one group of people, they were out on a moon of Pluto or
yeah, they're out on Pluto's moon,
and they were taken hostage, and then the one guy he comes back years later saying, there's aliens coming, and I think they just found the first lion.
They found the red lion.
Yeah, that was where I was at.
Okay. It's really, really good because we've watched the whole thing now, and they have nods to both Go Lion, which was the original Japanese, and Voltron. And it's terrific because it's its own thing, but just the little Easter eggs they throw in at you is wonderful. I can't go into any more because I'll spoil something for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to do that because I loved the reveals on some of this stuff when it was coming out, and yeah, I think you'll really enjoy that.
I mean, I guess that's still considered anime, but I don't know if it's by a Japanese studio.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's by DreamWorks, but I don't know who they hired out to do the actual.
Right.
It's a cartoon. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Oh, some people just lost their collective shit. Oh, no, it's not.
All right. Well, we'll get them back because I've been watching little bits and pieces of stuff, but the one that I found really interesting, and you may find it interesting too, is called Phantasy Star Online 2: The Animation.
Is that spelled PH?
PH.
Okay.
And it's on Crunchyroll. It's one of their streaming things. So episode comes out in Japan, the next day it's available on Crunchyroll.
Mm.
And it's nice because it shows you both sides of it. It's the main focus is this kid in school. He's at a boarding school, and it's based in the year 2027. He is a newbie, so he's never played this before, and he's given an assignment by the president of the student council, basically saying, okay, I need you to start playing this and write a report on it because reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts playing, so you get to see his out-of-game experiences and his in-game experiences, and he's learning about what it means to be a gamer in an MMO and all this. And it's got your typical Japanese teen drama thing going on a little bit, but it's just fun watching it because in the one episode, he has to go and pick something up from a construction company. They need to give something to the student council. I guess they're redoing a building or whatever. So he's there, and he's waiting for the guy to get the stuff, and there are two construction workers there, and they're talking about the game that he played last night, the group he was in. And these are two burly construction workers. One of them, his character is a cat girl, and the other one, his character is this little kid that dresses up like a mouse. So it's the disconnect from, people can go online and be whatever the hell they want.
Right.
But it's just fun to watch, even though at the end of the second episode, the main character and I said more or less the same thing at the exact same time. I have no idea what's going on right now. So if anyone's on Crunchyroll, and it's free, so why the hell not? I would suggest it. It's a fun little thing, and it's brand new. It just started January of this year, so it's brand new anime. I think they're up to like episode 12 or something like that now.
Cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I've been watching a lot of Sailor Moon with Kira, and just bits and pieces here and there. Nothing too in depth, just because I don't have the time.
Time is a luxury we do not have.
Or Kira's home, and there are certain things I will not watch.
Yeah, that you can't.
Yeah. Although she was out playing, that's how I managed to watch Attack on Titan. And Michelle was there with me.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, how are you squeezing that in? Because that's not really...
Well, because it's summer, so Kira is outside a lot. playing with our next door neighbor. Her great granddaughter lives in Maryland during the school year because that's where she goes to school with, and that's where her father lives. But her mom lives up here. So the summers she comes up here, and so they'll be out, park across the street, playing in the yard, whatever. So I can sneak stuff in then, as long as I pause appropriately.
Yeah.
Between things. But Michelle's been watched it with me, and she seemed fairly interested in it.
Well, so, it is. Well, I mean, we can get into that when we talk about it. It's
right.
It is different.
Oh, it is. And I had only ever seen the first 2 episodes prior to this. So I have no idea where it's going.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of them, just like maybe a trailer, and was like, well, what is going on here?
Yeah,
and still thinking that, from watching, because I'm 3 episodes in, and still like, whoa, what is?
Yeah, what's the end game here? What's going on? So, do we want to take a break and then get back into this stuff?
Sure.
Okay, we'll see you on the other side, everyone.
Warlord Worlds, a fan podcast devoted to the comic creations of Mike Grell, including Warlord, John Sable, Starslayer, Shaman's Tears, and Green Arrow. I'm Darren.
And I'm Ruth. We hope you'll join us as we discuss the stories, characters, and art in the many excellent comics from writer and artist Mike Grell.
Warlord Worlds is available at podbean.com and on iTunes and Stitcher.
Find us at warlordworlds.com.
And we're back. And through scientific method, we have determined that we will be going in alphabetical order, and therefore go with Attack on Titan first. And Dr. Bill will have our synopsis.
The scientific method being the random chance that I just said, alphabetical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, you're a doctor. It's scientific.
A is for attack. So we have the first episode of Attack on Titan, and it was directed by Tetsuro Araki, written by Yasuko Kobayashi. I could say Kobayashi. Oh,
you had better be able to.
Yeah. Original air date April 7th, 2013. English year date. See, I could say Kobayashi, but I can't say air date. English air date May 3rd, 2014. So this, so we're kind of jumping ahead to something very recent.
Yeah.
On the show, and the name of the show, like we've already said, is Attack on Titan. And episode 1, To You in 2,000 Years, the Fall Of Shingashina. Part 1, or Uno, for those of you in the know. For over a century, humans have been living in settlements surrounded by 3 gigantic walls which prevent the Titans, giant humanoid creatures who eat humans, from entering. Young Eren Yeager, which that just confused me completely because I was thinking Jaegers from Pacific Rim. And
yeah, why doesn't he just get in the giant robot and fight them?
Yeah, I was like, oh, so they got Jaegers. No. Of the town of Shingashina, wishes to see the outside world by joining the Scout Regiment. Yeah, we'll see you then later. As he likens living in the cities to livestock. Despite this, his adopted sister... well, good. See, that wasn't quite... I couldn't quite figure that out.
Yeah, I knew she wasn't his sister.
Right, but I was like, well, why is she living with them? Is she like an neighbor kid and just happened to be there when all this stuff went down? But anyway, this is answered in this lovely synopsis that I just read for the first time. Despite this, his adopted sister, Mikasa Ackerman, and their mother, Carla Yeager, are against him joining the Scouts. Even after seeing the Scouts return home with large casualties, Eren expresses... All we are saying is give her his hand. Aaron expresses his interest to join, which impresses his father, Grisha Jaeger, who is creepy. After Aaron and Mikasa rescue their friend Armin Arlet from a group of delinquents due to his views that the walls will not protect them forever, a titan much taller than the walls, later named the Colossal Titan, suddenly appears and knocks down the gate to Shingishina, allowing smaller titans to enter as the town erupts into mass panic. Aaron and Mikasa run to their home to find their mother pinned under their collapsed house. Carla begs them to flee, but they refuse until the city guard Haynes, or however you would say it, arrives and takes them away. Aaron watches in horror as the smiling titan eats Carla, his mother.
Yeah, that was kind of disturbing.
Oof. Yes. There's a lot of things in this that were very disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like you said, the dad.
Yeah, the dad's got something going on. Something's going on with the dad and this key he has around his son's neck because he says when he comes back, when I get back from my trip in the city, we're going to go in the cellar. And I'll show you what's down there. And his father, like, I don't know. His father's kind of prominent because he prevented some type of disease. I'm thinking experimentation. He probably caused the disease. That's my guess. I have no proof. I'm just spirit. This is. We don't know. Gene and I don't know where this ends. We have not peeked ahead. I mean, you haven't gone any further than the 3 we've covered, right?
Right. I've only seen up to episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting that, when his dad said that to him, hey, there's this key to that locked thing in the cellar. I'll show you when I get back. My note was, well, he's dead.
No, I don't think he's dead.
No, but that's just the way it works. It's
yeah.
I'll sign that life insurance when I get back.
Yeah. Yeah, so the dynamic, there was little cutscenes. I guess it would have been where there would have been a normal commercial break, but watching it on Netflix, and it kind of went by real quick, and I had to pause it, and it explained some of what the height of the walls were,
right?
The different levels, because I thought it was just one big giant city, but actually this town of Shingishina is one little like a little bubble out on it's not really. I guess it is the outer wall.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a point. They were bait, is what I'm going to call them.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are, and that is really disturbing. Especially, my question is, did they know they were bait? Do they realize?
I don't think they realize that they're bait because picture. Okay, you have one big circle in the middle, then you have another circle. Then there's one other circle way out, right? I think that's what it was. But on this other circle way out, there's these little bubbles on the edge of the circle. And that's where Shingishina was. But they stick out. They're more pronounced from the actual... And they're huge. There's a small city in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not small. And see, when I first watched it, I thought, oh, well, this is just one part of the outer wall. They have a lot of these cities, and the inner wall, I'm thinking minus Tirith, where you have the multiple walls, but it's all densely packed.
And they call that Wall Maria, I think, or is it Wall Road?
No, it's Maria. Maria is the outer wall, and so
but that's not the outer. But that's not the outer wall of Shingishina.
Right, that's the through inner Maria.
Wall. That's like the inner wall. That's where they all go into to get in to try to get away.
Mm-hmm.
Which it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I find it very interesting how they foreshadow stuff in this, like when Aaron's coming back from gathering wood, right? So I originally thought he came back from gathering wood and went through the gate back into the city, where he was gathering wood on the other side of Wall Maria.
Right, he was going deeper into. Yeah, I mean, that's how big these walls are. They encompass a huge territory. Because I originally thought it was just like one small city and it just had 3 walls, but it's where the last of humanity resides.
Yeah, this is all there is.
Yeah, and these things are massive. There's in the central ring is the government, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Put all the people out in the outer rings first. Let them get eaten.
Yeah, but what's interesting is as Aaron's coming back in, the guards, including Hansel,
Console.
I'm sorry. I always go to that. But as they're coming back in...
Abracaposis.
Hocus Cadabra.
Newport
News.
Walla Walla, Washington.
And as they're coming in, the guards are drunk. And it's, these walls will never fall. It's like, okay. Total confidence in defense. This will not end well.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the Survey Corps coming back. It's like, let's say they went out with 1,000 guys while 100 came back. It was just devastating.
Some of them in pieces.
Yeah, some of them in pieces.
Yeah, because one old lady. Well, no, she wasn't really that old. She's like, my son is. Where's my son? I don't see him. And
here he is.
Yeah, one of the guys, looks up, and another one of his the scout regiment says, "Give it to her, show her." And he has this small bundle that looks like a baby. And then he brings it down and he gives it to her and she opens it and it's her son's hand and part of his forearm. And
then she says, well, he died for a good reason, right? He died for humanity, right? And the leader just breaks down. No, it was completely pointless.
He died for nothing. Yeah. We did fight for nothing.
And after all this, Aaron's still like, wow, those guys are heroes. You idiot.
Yeah, and and Aaron thinks he's that he's a big tough guy, a tough kid, when it's actually his adopted sister Mikasa that everybody runs from.
Right. They see Aaron coming down. It's just him again. They see Mikasa. Oh crap,
run! It's her.
Get out of here. She's the badass of the group.
And they come and save his little friend Armin, little blonde-haired kid who's just he's an idealist.
Oh yeah.
Well. I mean, his thing is like these walls aren't going to last forever. We've got to think of this isn't. I mean, he's kind of on the same page as Aaron, but coming from a different. He's more. But he doesn't really want to fight though. He's just like he's a very odd character.
Yeah, he's interesting, and when we get further in, what happens with him, is it's a nice progression with what they do with him in the second episode, but we won't get into that right now.
Right.
But,
he's being beat up some kids because he's
blaspheming.
Right.
He's basically saying these walls will not hold forever, and that the state religion is basically saying that these walls are holy, they will always protect us, etc.
Yep.
And if you say something against that, you're blaspheming.
And just then,
and this is the picture that I'm pretty sure everyone who has ever done a Google search on Attack on Titan has seen, and that's the 75-meter tall skinless giant.
And these things fall from the sky, right? Don't they?
Well, see, that's what I don't understand.
That's what I don't quite understand. Yeah, it's like are they where are they come? It seemed like it fell from the sky, or when they maybe I'm getting confused with some of the flashbacks and stuff. I could have swore it looks like some of them fell from the sky when they were talking about when they were first attacked, and I may be confusing stuff in episode 2 and 3.
Well, no, because there was an explosion. There was something. I'm pretty sure something fell from the sky, and that's when the Colossal Titan appeared.
Right.
Peeking over the wall. And he kicked the hole in the wall, and then where'd he go? It's just, he kicked this hole in the wall, and then you never see him again. You would think he would be standing there ripping it apart, but he just disappears. So I don't know what's going on here. And it may be revealed later in the series, I don't know. But it's just like that, and then, that's the second episode. I won't go into that one. But yeah, that thing is disturbing because it's got no skin on it and it's smoking, which is what leads me to believe that's what fell from the sky.
Then no, it's not smoking a cigarette. It's basically all steamy.
Right. It's got smoke coming out from between the side teeth behind its muscles, which is
it's very it's like if you've ever looked in a textbook that shows a picture of a human body with no skin, and or seen the movie Hellraiser, when the guy is coming back like body layer by body layer until he gets skin, and it looks just like that, but it's huge and does the drop kick me Jesus on the gate door. and smashes in the outer gate, or just smashes. I don't know if it's a gate, or is it a gate, or it smashes a hole in the wall.
I think he just smashed a hole in the wall.
Yeah, and the rocks go flying in and crush some of the buildings, one of which being Aaron's home.
Right.
And they all run back and find that his mother is pinned under the rubble, and Oh, but before we get to that, all the other smaller Titans are running into the city, and
it's a buffet.
Yeah, like the one woman that runs around a corner and she's in a dead end,
and then
she's looking, and then she looks up, and this sexless giant looks over with their faces have this horrible rictus grin on them, and their jaw, their mouths extend kind of very little bit wider than normal. And wasn't she the one that got picked up by her head?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Picks her up by her head, and her legs are wiggling, and then they you see her feet come off the ground, and then her shoes drop. It's very graphic. It's very... Yeah.
Well, it's graphic without being graphic.
Right.
Like when Aaron's mom...
It wasn't graphic, but it was... Yeah. It was I mean, there's some scenes that are very graphic, but disturbing graphically.
Yeah, very disturbing. As you can understand, with these people-eating giants coming in, everybody has just decided to panic.
Yeah.
And then run for the one gate.
Yeah, and
Maria.
There's the one guy, the end is near, repent now. Chomp.
Yeah. And to that guy's credit, he's quoting scripture up until he's bitten.
Yep.
So good for him.
And then,
that is security in your beliefs. And
they show some of the people are bitten, and they're bitten in half, and then there's just nothing, and then they just eat them.
Yeah, but Aaron and Mikasa are trying to lift the beam off of Carla, and they're what, 8, 10?
Yeah.
Like that, and they cannot move this beam. And she's yelling at him, go, go. So Hans runs up and says, I will kill the Titan. And he runs at him, then says, this is not a good idea.
Yeah,
runs
he stops
back and grabs the kids.
Because they have these, they're explained in a later episode what they actually are, but they're like these harnesses. It's called an omnidirectional mobility gear.
It's basically mechanical web swinging.
Right, from the hips.
It's the best way to think about it is they've got this thing that fires cables out, and you're able to swing like Spider-Man with your arms free.
Yeah. So he goes, he's all gung-ho, and then he sees the Titan, ooh, and then he takes the kids and he turns the other way.
Right.
And as he's running away with the kids, they're looking back at their mother, and the Titan eats the mother. And
that they show in silhouette.
Yeah.
That is disturbing, especially when you see the lump go down its throat.
Ugh. Thanks, Paul. Paul's kids. It was actually Paul's kids.
Yeah, but that's an interesting setup for this series.
I watched this by myself while everybody else was on vacation, and I had the house to myself, and I watched these first 3 episodes back to back, and I'm just sitting there going, what the hell? Getting a little, not freaked out, but just oh, man, this is, oof.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I don't think I could watch more than 3 at a time, and I'm watching them on Crunchyroll, so I've got, I don't have any breaks or anything because I'm the idiot that paid for the subscription. And it's just, you just watch this whole thing, and it doesn't let up at all. Once it gets going, it does not let up. Even the second and third episode, there's a little bit of downtime, but you always have these flashes back to, hey, he's remembering his mom getting eaten again. Thanks for reminding us. We really needed that. But it's interesting that we find out in the second episode why Hans changed his mind. Because he's all gung-ho, and then it's no, kids, phew, and runs back. And it's real sudden, and they don't explain it in the first episode, which I like. Because there's no time for an explanation. He just runs. He just gets the kids out of there.
Yeah.
At which point Carla changes her mind, says, no, help, come back. And that's when she gets eaten.
Yeah. Well, no, because she actually told them, she said, even if you get me out, my legs are crushed. I won't be able to walk. You won't be able to carry me. You must leave. You must go.
But then when she's actually faced with being eaten, she has a human reaction.
To be honest with you, I didn't even notice because I think I was so much in shock just watching. It didn't even register that she was screaming, to come back because I was just so.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just found that really well written because a normal human, no matter how self-sacrificing they are, at that very last instant, the self-preservation instinct kicks in. And it's, no, save me, help!
Yeah.
But too little, too late, But, yeah, it's a good way to start a series off to knock the audience back on their heels. So far, it seems to be paying off on that, which is good. But we'll have to wait and see as we go on.
Mm.
So we want to move on to something a little lighter?
Yeah, I think it's time for a little light. If you can call a eternal struggle between good and evil and the desolation of a continent and lighter, in this case, it actually is.
It actually is, because there's a little bit of humor in here.
Because we haven't had any humor. You don't get humor until the third episode of Attack on Titan.
And even then, they bring it down. It's like, those people are only laughing because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, so it's, Oof. Oh, so I guess we're going to move on to Record of Lodoss War. Take it away, Mr. Hendricks.
Okay, Record of Lodoss War, Episode 1, Prologue to the Legend, which is a rather strange title, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
It's got a strange opening. This one is a very long opening, too.
Yes.
Before we even get to the... but anyway, go ahead. Yes. We can discuss that after.
Original release on this one was June 30th, 1990, so still more recent than Star Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
A group of adventurers, Parn the Knight, Deedlit the Elf, Gim the Dwarf, Woodchuck the Thief, Slain the Wizard, and Ato the Cleric, entered the ruins of the Great Dwarven Hall. After fending off an attack by gargoyles, not the Disney gargoyles, these are evil gargoyles, they continue further into the hall, certain that they are not alone. Deedlit is caught in a trap, because she's a female, and when Parn tries to rescue her, he is caught himself, and they are separated from the others. In a flashback, we learn that Parn and his group have been tasked by King Fawn to find the sage Wart, to see if he can provide them any information about Carla, the Grey Witch. Deedlit and Parn find a mural depicting an epic battle between the gods 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
20 years ago?
I don't think that's right, but we'll go on. As they continue through the catacombs, they awaken a green dragon. Unable to fight it, they attempt to run past it, but are trapped when the rest of the group arrives. Together, they are able to defeat the dragon, but his thrashing body causes the catacombs to collapse and force the group to flee the hall.
Well, maybe they're getting confused because Parn's obviously either a late teen or an early 20-year-old, and his father, which we won't find out here, but you'll find out later. See, I don't remember much beyond episode 3 either. It's been so long since I watched this, so I'm kind of in the same boat with this as I am with Attack. Right. I have an idea, but I just don't remember. It's been so long.
I know certain specifics, but I don't know the whole story.
But Parn's father was a knight, and I guess he was discredited or something, and now he's wearing his father's armor. You picked this up in episode 2. So that's why I'm wondering if there was some type of battle 20 years ago, because that would match up with the timeline of possibly when Parn's father, because there's a scene in episode 2 where he walks away.
Well, there is something going on that we will find that involves Carla and Wart and
okay, but yeah, but the battle, because the opening of this episode, we would have the same voiceover in 2 and 3, and I'm assuming the rest of them. But in the first one, it is extremely long and does a big detailing of the war between
Thalas and Phalaris, the gods of light and dark.
Yeah, and how the continent of Lodoss was created, the cursed continent, or the cursed island.
The accursed island, and my note for that is not the best PR.
Yeah. So it's but that's kind of, so it seems like this battle took place a while ago.
Yeah, because
not 20 years.
No, the way that opening narration makes it seem is this is like 1,000 years ago, and that's when that's when Lodoss appeared, got broken off from the main continent. And, 20 doesn't make sense. 20 years does not make sense for that battle to have occurred. For this other thing to have happened, which we don't know about yet, yes, but not for that battle. But it is a nice bit of world building that we get right off the bat. So you're in the right frame of mind.
I like the voice of the guy that does the opening.
Oh, yeah, he's really good.
I don't know. I didn't look up who he is. Like if he's a well-known, he's very distinctive, and I think I've heard him in other things, but I don't know what.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I associate him with this series, so I'm not 100% sure if I've heard him somewhere else.
Mm.
Oh, and what I like about it is we get the opening credits. Pretty much, you get this big info dump, and hey, Lodoss, the Accursed Island, etc., and then you get this light and airy song on the opening credits.
Yeah, in both the opening and closing, you have the.
But,
I don't think Attack on Titan really has any light opening credits.
No. But then the current, I want to say D&D group, but it's really a Pathfinder group that I play in. We're going up against people trying to resurrect Tiamat. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, Tiamat
it's a dragon.
Is the mother dragon. She has the heads, one head for each of the 5 evil dragon races. So at the end of these opening credits, where you see the 5 dragon heads, I was like, Tiamat! Stay back.
Yeah, and this really is the straight up D&D basic party.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean
you have the fighter, you have the thief, you have the elf who's in touch with nature, you have the healer.
You have a wizard.
You have the wizard, and then you have
a dwarf.
The dwarf.
You have to have a dwarf.
Yeah.
And this, ever since I saw this for the first time, Gim has informed my way of role-playing a dwarf. Because he's got the best attitude. I mean, I wrote down the one perfect quote was, after he praises Deedlit for doing something, and I think it was Woodchuck that turns to him and says, weren't you just riding her ass before? And it's just, only a human will let his feelings stop him from recognizing someone's special talents.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just like quintessential dwarf to me.
He's attitude, but he's all business.
And he can back it up. I mean, he jumped and nailed that dragon in the nose with his axe.
Oh, yeah.
And he's hanging on as the thing's whipping him back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I waited for him to get up at the end and say, I hope you appreciate I do all my own stunts. Now, is it just me, or is Deedlit, especially in this episode, a bit of a ditz? I mean, she's walking through here, it's, ooh, shiny, let me grab that.
Yeah, if as old as elves are supposed to be, you would think, I mean, I don't know if they say how old she really is, but, they're technically supposed to be kind of long-lived.
Yeah, they haven't said it yet in the first 3 episodes. So.
Yeah, I mean, but it's usually there are a couple hundred years old, you would think, or 1,000 or more, and she kind of just, look, something shiny in a dungeon, let me grab it. Oh, it's a trap.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah.
But this is one thing that I love this episode. This is a great episode. Any Dungeons & Dragons, anyone that's starting to play Dungeons & Dragons should have to watch this episode because it's quintessential. This is how a party operates. But we have this big opening narration. Phallus versus Phalaris. Only
Karnath?
2 were left at the end.
Who was Karnath?
That is the servant of Phalaris.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because it's this whole thing. You have the gods of light and dark battling each other, and all their minions, and all that's left and is the goddess of creation, and the god of death, or whatever. But we have this big opening narration. Then Parn and Deedlit come into this room with a big mural, and Deedlit explains the whole thing again.
Yeah.
What was the point of the opening if you're just going to have her do it in the episode? I mean, just get rid of, as much as I love the beginning, just get rid of that and let her give it to us in story.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it twice. That threw me right out of it. It's just odd. And then we get the pseudo introduction of Carla here. where she comes in, she's talking to Wart, the guy they're looking for.
Yeah, she's got a low-cut shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
She's got the ha 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 ha.
But it's interesting because we will find a lot more about her later.
Yeah, I'm thinking I remember something about her. I don't think she's all she appears to be, from what I remember.
But she is... What we get from this is that she is about balance. She is like the epitome of a true neutral character. She sides with whatever the underdog is.
Well, her name is the Grey Witch.
Right. So she's
not the Black Witch. She's not the White Witch. She's the Grey Witch.
So she's either going to help the good guys because evil's in power, or she's going to help the bad guys if the good guys are in power.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, it looks like she's on the bad guy's side. So that's going to be fun to watch.
Yep.
But yeah, what we're going to find out next episode is this is like the middle of the story.
Right. Because now, we're going to go back and this to kind of dropped you in the action. Now you're going to get the build up to how everybody came together.
Right.
Basically.
The next couple episodes are going to be how the team started. And, this one knows that one, and then that one knows that one, and they come together because of this. And
Etoth seems to know Parn. I would say Deedlit and Gim know each other.
Actually, they don't.
They don't? Oh, okay.
That's the fun part. Yeah, it's Gim,
it's Gim and Slain that know each other. Woodchuck doesn't know anybody. They find him.
Yeah, and Deedlit just shows up.
Right.
Say,
she's
hey,
flittering about the
there.
trees. Yeah. But that's in the second episode.
Right. But
so, here we just get a good, everybody shows off their talents. And like you said, Gim sticks his axe in the sword, in the nose of the dragon. Which I wonder why that dragon didn't burn the crap out of them earlier on. I'm like, burn him. What are you waiting on? You're a dragon.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, so use your breath weapon. Come on.
Like he uses his breath weapon finally later at the end. I was like, why? He's like, why didn't you just? Man, you know what? I should be a dragon. I'd be a big fat dragon, but man, I'd use that breath weapon. I wouldn't be waiting and getting, because he gets in close and does some melee fighting with him.
Yeah, when you get him, the trap.
Blast him.
That corridor, that block corridor, just get your head back.
Yeah, he's trying to shove himself in there. I'm like, just send a column of flame right up the thing. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stupid dragon.
I like how he has his pilot light on his tongue.
Pilot light's out. He's got to get a little match in there.
And to completely sidetrack us, have you ever watched the Rankin Bass movie, The Flight of Dragons?
I've watched the Rankin Bass of The Hobbit.
Yeah, well, this is
Smaug or however you want to say it.
Well, this is completely different. It's based on a book, but it stars John Ritter, Henry Morgan, and James Earl Jones.
Or are they voices of dragons?
Well, John Ritter's a human.
Uh-huh.
Henry Morgan is a wizard, and James Earl Jones is an evil wizard. But they go through all this, and
so he's reprising his role from Conan, basically. Or had he done his role of Conan?
No, this is much later than that.
Oh.
But he's even more evil than that.
Henry Morgan from MASH?
From MASH.
Colonel Potter?
Colonel Potter is a wizard.
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Yeah, I think he voiced... Maybe I have seen that, because I remember hearing him voicing... He didn't voice one of the elves in The Hobbit, did he?
No, he didn't.
The cartoon, not the...
no, he didn't. He wasn't in The Hobbit at all.
Oh.
But it's interesting because it's partially science-based. In fact, John Ritter's character overcomes the wizard at the end by quoting science facts to him. And they're going.
Maybe I have seen that. That does sound vaguely familiar.
So they go through this whole thing that, okay, well, dragons have to eat limestone so that their stomach acids can create the flammable gas, and then they've got a electrical spark in their throat that ignites it. And that's how they breathe fire. Also how they fly, because the gas is lighter than air. The more gas they have inside them, the higher up they can float. And the reason they have to sleep on coins and everything is because it's non-flammable bedding. So it's a fun little movie. I actually first saw it on.
I'm looking at
Cartoon
some
Network.
pictures now. Yeah. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember this.
I know it's available on Amazon, but you have to pay for it.
It's got like that. It doesn't have. Well, I guess it does have some of the Rankin Bass look to their cartoons, but not.
Don't look at the cover image. Look at
I looked at that. Yeah, and that looked like a straight up Disney. But now looking deeper into these images, yeah, it does look. It does look a little more Rankin Bassy, I guess, if that's a term.
Yeah, they do have a very unique animation style.
Oh, I see. John Ritter would be the guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
And James Earl Jones would be the guy in the red.
Yes, the Red Wizard. And Harry Morgan is the
Green Wizard.
The Green Wizard.
With the long white beard.
Yep.
And
the nose that prevents him from drinking anything.
It looks like a maester from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones.
I do not.
Oh.
I watched we have the first season on DVD. I was able to get through the first 2 episodes and said, a little too much. I've read the first 3 books, but the TV show is just a little too intense. You know, it's like you can't watch more than an episode at a time before you start getting sick. At least with me, you know.
So the fact that I watched like 3 seasons in about a week, I'm some type of psycho.
Well,
I fell asleep watching some.
It depends on how tired you are. You know?
There was. I think I was like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes in, and I fell asleep. One where they take the green fire, the dragon fire, and I can't believe I fell asleep. It scared the crap out of me when they actually they put it in a boat and they were leaking it into the river, and then they blew up basically. What's his name? Oh, I can't think of the guy's name. Stannis Baratheon's fleet, because they ignited it on the water and it took out most of his fleet and created this huge green explosion. And I had fallen asleep before they lit the stuff, and I had headphones on, and all of a sudden, boom! And I opened up my eyes and I was looking at the TV, and all I saw was this huge green ball of fire, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? I had to back it up like 20 minutes because I guess I'd been drifting on and off. So, yeah.
Wow.
But it was good. But it's not a Game of Thrones podcast. But we're drifting. We're drifting. Stay on target.
Well, that's about all I have for this one. I mean, it's just I know enough of what's coming later that I don't want to say too much about it.
Yeah,
I know who Carla actually is.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm not saying it.
Okay. So. Well, let's see. I honestly don't remember. I'm going to say Parn's mother.
Not going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay. Well, I guess this kind of wraps up. We're just getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
But next time, on All New Anime Freaks, I believe we'll do episode 2. We'll be doing 2 episodes, and we'll do the number 2 episodes of each series.
Yes, because that's going to be a nice dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
Going
light
between
and
those
dark.
2. Yeah. Just wait until we get to dark and dark.
Yeah, that'll be darker and dark.
Oh, man.
So I guess next time for Record of Lodoss War, it's Blazing Departure.
Right.
And what do we have for
the Fall of Shingishina Part 2?
Oh, that's right, Part Dos.
Yes.
Or,
Part
as I like
2.
to call it, everybody get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
When we get to see the football titan. Oh. Have fun, everybody. See you later.
Later.
Visit our website at twotruefreaks.com. Two True Freaks, it's always spelled TWOTRUEFREAKS. You can email Two True Freaks directly at twotruefreaks@gmail.com. Two True Freaks and all of its excellent affiliates are available on iTunes. You can choose to subscribe to either the entire network if you wish, or pick whichever individual shows you want to follow. We have so many shows to choose from, there's just found one that is your particular favorite. Just search Two True Freaks with exclamation mark at the end, space, and a number 2. You can find Two True Freaks on Facebook. Just search for Two True Freaks. If you ever leave your house and you actually have friends, why don't you tell them about Two True Freaks? If you've enjoyed our show, please don't you take a moment to rate us on iTunes. That helps others find the show too. Thanks for listening, and join us every Monday for new episodes of Two True Freaks.